What's good, y'all? Today's video is gonna be about Don Da Da.
That show doesn't finish for another month, so we can't do it yet.
Fuck. Well then, how about a story? At their core, humans crave companionship. We are creatures who are not meant to operate alone. It is why we cherish friendship and community. But most importantly, it's why we seek love. However, what happens when the love that we chase seems to be just out of our reach? Given that situation, the average person would probably take some time to cope and slowly move past their unrequited feelings. But in the case of these two men, they resort to, well, underhanded tactics. Welcome to the art of dirty macking. Alright, so before I introduce today's subject of analysis, I gotta let the ones who don't know what dirty macking is in on the term. Pretty much, bro, imagine you're in a committed relationship with someone. Things may not be all sunshine and rainbows, but you know, you're still with them. But all the while, a third party is in the ear of your partner, bad-mouthing you, talking shit, or even worse. Now, there's two types of dirty macking: indirect and direct. Direct is the more straightforward approach and pretty much follows the description that I just gave of the term. But the indirect technique is much more devious because oftentimes you don't catch it until it's too late. And to illustrate this, we're gonna take a look at one James Halpert. Now, I just want to preface this by saying I love The Office. Even though I'm about to personally dissect this character on a molecular level, that don't mean I don't fuck with them. That don't mean I don't fuck with the show. And to be quite honest, 70% of the shit I'm about to discuss is something that I myself have done in the past. Simply put it, I'm very familiar with Jim Halpert's game. This is a very ethical hooper. He's gonna take smart shots only. A lot of Jim's game is really about taking what the defense gives him. He never oversteps. Now, there's three keys to successfully dirty mac indirectly: proximity, disengagement, and playing the moments. Proximity is what it sounds like. It's all about the distance between the culprit and the person of desire. You know, close proximity gives you more opportunity to get in their ear, and if you watch the show, you know his ass be at that desk like 4 or 5 times an episode. So not only does he go up to her desk to talk about God knows what, but more importantly, Roy is in a completely different part of the building, unable to check that shit. So Jim is able to build the connection very, very easily with no resistance whatsoever. Number 2, disengagement. Now, Jim doesn't exactly go completely unchecked. Like, there are times when Roy is like, hey cuz, hold on. But he can't hit Jim with the homewrecker allegations because A, when he do press him, they genuinely don't be talking about shit. And B, Jim was quote unquote wifed up throughout this whole saga. So Jim isn't really raising any flags, you know, as potentially trying to steal her away from her fiance. Even though he's in love with her, he's literally just reacting to the shit that she does. Now that we've established the first two though, let's take a look at the moments that, you know, create the Michael Jordan of dirty macking. Moment number 1, the basketball game. I ain't gonna lie, this was the beginning of the end for Roy, really, because if you're gonna invite your girl to watch you hoop, do it when you play some scrubs, not when you play a real demon, because now not only does the man you're guarding want your girl, he now has 25, 10, and 5 on 56% shooting with a plus minus of 15 with your girl in the front row cheering him on. He was getting fried, bro. Look at this right here. Bit on the behind the back and laid it with the left. Pam can't help but be enamored with the sauce. Roy playing dirty and shit because he know he can't check him, but Jim came back and gave him the Jason Tatum special, and he ended up giving him like 7 to 8 unanswered while Pam was sitting front row. This is nasty, but this is a perfect setup going into the rest of the game. You know, Jim's on an early run type shit. Moment number 2. First episode of season 1, they were sitting at the Dundies and Michael throws the lob of the fucking century, gives them the award for longest engagement. That nigga Roy was hot, stormed off. What does Pam do to blow off steam? Gets drunk. So Pam drunk kisses Jim. And this is important because drunk thoughts is sober feelings. So he already knows he's cooking. But like I said, this is an ethical shot taker. He's not gonna go for the heat check right off the bat and fuck up his rhythm. But he knows he's heating up. He just let the game come to him. He's just reacting to it. Moment number 3. They was watching Dwight and Michael fight. And they start play wrestling in the background. And he lifts her up in front of the whole company. But nobody really gave a fuck because 80% of the office was also moving foul as fuck. So they're definitely so you know they're not gonna check him for that. So that lets him know that's a spot he can shoot from going forward. They seen Jim and Pam doing that and was like, one of us. Moment number 4, this when they was on the boat. Roy finally does set a date for their wedding, and typically this would be the end because Jim can't just drop his girl after that. Otherwise, it's gonna give it away. But like I just said, he's surrounded by like-minded individuals. So him saying that he's trying to get Pam literal minutes after she got her wedding confirmed isn't ridiculous to them. And it's definitely not ridiculous to Michael, who was wilding way more than Jim. But Jim listens and is like, appreciate it, Unc, and gets right back in the lab. But the difference between now and before is he understands it. He's on the clock. He can't take basic shots no more. He's got to get a little active. For example, Pam was trying to do art school, and Roy was like, oh, hell no, bruh. Get that liberal bullshit out my face right now. See, the easy thing for Jim to do here would be for him to just come in and be like, oh, man, Roy a bitch. He don't like you for you. You should consider leaving him. But he doesn't. You know why? Because that's forcing up a bad shot. That's a heavily contested. And even though he does need to kind of move with more urgency, you know, he's still trying to play within the realm of his game. So instead, he focuses on her. Doesn't even mention Roy. And this is a world-class move from Halpert because he uses Pam's whole argument against Roy against her. Pam theoretically should agree with him, but because Roy was so adamant that her goals was malarkey, she thought it was stupid, and this causes her to have that realization that, oh man, maybe Roy don't have my best interest at heart, which furthers the rift between Roy and Pam. I'm telling y'all, this nigga Jim is a genius. Now, what makes this situation worse is because the very next episode, Roy don't get her any type of gift for Valentine's Day, no flowers, no nothing. He just said, hey, I got dick and Dr. Pepper at the crib. It's finna be live. And that's when it officially registers in her head that maybe he's not the one. And Mr. Halpert was in the cut nodding like Cam Newton after Odell tied the game up in 2015 on some I understand it now type shit. Moment number 6, I think this was like casino night or something, but Roy left early, and as soon as he pulled off, Jim ran the 4 verts and was like, hey, I love you. They kiss, and she's like, nah fam, I gotta go through with this wedding though. He takes his ass to Connecticut. That's the disengagement, right? But now phase 1 of the plan is complete because he did successfully fuck up the relationship, but now he accidentally got into one right as he was about to go back to Scranton. Which means that before he left, it was like a 3-player match, but now it's 4. So how is he gonna get 2 people out the game at once? I'll tell you. Now, he's dropped the girl on the fly before, we've seen it, but he can't do it this time because Karen already knew the deal with him and Pam from the jump. So now, he gotta inverse the same method he used on Pam and use it on his actual girl. He's telling her he don't want to move in with her and shit, and you know, they should keep separate houses, even though that's gonna save money. Anyway, while that's going on, Roy is trying to get Pam back, but then she tells him about Jim, and he crashes the fuck out, gets fired. Boom, 1 down. And now that the main op is out of the picture, he doesn't see anything in his way anymore. And so he tells Karen, hey, you cut, baby? And she dips off to another branch, and the rest is history. So, to summarize, this is goals, as long as you just omit the fact that this man casually played another guy out of his relationship from the outside and altered the lives of 3 different people just to get the girl he wanted. But more importantly, this is a very efficient scorer, someone who knows when to put up shots and who knows when to live to fight another day. Now, I showed y'all a good example of what indirect dirty macking looked like, but for the direct type, ignore everything I just said. There is only one rule, one law that applies to the direct form of dirty. Empty the fucking clip. This is the most in-your-face shit ever. It's foul, it's dirty, it's nasty. A direct dirty macker is gonna get his shots off whether you are there to guard him or not. And the perfect illustration of this is John Blackthorne. You see, Jim isn't gonna blatantly lust after Pam and try to get at her. Like I said, he's a very efficient, very ethical hooper. He's gonna take the open shots, read the defense, and react accordingly. He's not gonna force the issue unless it's clutch time. But this is a pirate. He don't got any fucking morals at all. When he lands in Japan and like comes to terms with the fact that he's stuck here for a minute, two things hit him. One, he's away from his wife and kids and he will be gone for a minute. And two, niggas back home don't even know if this place exists for real. And once those register in his brain, he immediately gets to work. But you see, with the direct approach, you can't really do it unless one thing is like prevalent, unless one thing happens, and that is the target or person of interest has to like literally hate their significant other. And that's precisely what the case was, because when Mariko's husband dies, he was like, hey, you good? And she was just acting like ain't shit happened, so he started shooting from everywhere. Next thing you know, he's describing what he would do with her in medieval London, plague infested London, and guess what? It don't even matter that that shit was dirty as fuck at the time, because he's shooting with a Zen and that shit is green. And when it turns out that her husband is in fact very much alive, the logical thing for him to do would be to step off. But not only did he crack that, he's also living good as hell, so his whole shit for the rest of the series is, I just fucked your wife and you can't do shit about it because I outrank you. You know, given the situation, her husband is rightfully like, yo, this barbarian is having relations with my wife. No, like nobody sees the issue. And every time he brings the shit up, everybody's like, hey man, game is game, fool. So he goes to the big homie and asks for permission to sleep Blackthorne, and the big homie was just like, yeah man, you know what? You right, this shit is crazy. That's exactly why I'm about to send your wife and the white boy off on vacation and put you on house arrest. And like I just said, Blackthorne was shooting with a Zen. Why would you leave him open like that? She's facing execution and he's still shooting from the hash mark, bro, like it's nothing. She got hit with an RPG like 5 minutes later, and you would think her husband is gonna crash the fuck out when he sees Blackthorne again, because not only did he smash his girl twice, she's dead on his watch, more or less. But he knows this shit is rigged against him, so he just kind of gives up, because at the end of the day, when you are guarding a great shooter, no matter how hard you're guarding him, he's gonna hit shots that'll make you go like, hey, ain't shit I can do about that. But yeah bro, that's gonna do it for today's vid. I hope y'all enjoyed it. So yeah, catch y'all on the flippity flip.